The Knicks won their last NBA title. The officials are Hugh Evans, Steve Javie, and Bennett Salvatore. Duncan, off the glass.
That's the completeness that we talked about.
Now Houston against Ellie. Ties it at 2.
What great confidence.
Robinson, nice pass to Ellie. Spinning baseline and scoring.
They found the mismatch. Charlie Ward was caught on Ellie.
Houston's jumper is there.
Great screen that time by Dudley.
Robinson screening for Johnson. Now gets it back from him and hits the 15-footer.
Well, for the people who have not seen much of San Antonio.
Johnson's pass knocked away. Houston comes out of the pack with the steal. They run the break, and Ward finishes it.
That's when New York is at their best.
Robinson had it poked away, and Dudley takes it. Here comes Sprewell. Duncan with him. Spree explodes to the basket and gets the roll.
See, that's what you got to do. You can't flip the ball at the basket.
Duncan with the reverse.
Just a matter of time if he's going to be single coverage and do just what he did there, get the basket.
Sprewell.
Wow, what a shot.
Robinson inside, but missed it.
Well, Dudley, a nice job there. That's his second block shot, and it leads to a quick, fast break from Houston. So right now, New York has to be very happy, Bob. They're doing a good job defensively.
Backing in on it. Finding Camby, who hits over Malik Rose.
See, with David Robinson out of the game.
Doug, as we talked earlier, you cannot really know what it is to have this crowd with this game-type action, try to get your breath back. So
his confidence level is higher than I've ever seen it before.
And, of course, you coached him at Detroit. Here's Malik Rose inside and scoring.
Well, they're going to need some energy from the bench.
Sprewell with Jackson on him. Spinning to the baseline and converting on the reverse.
Wow, Latrell Sprewell.
Ellie, the lob to Duncan. Between two defenders, he puts it in.
How about the catch? How about the catch and the ability to come down as that big guy and lay the ball in the basket?
Houston driving on Ellie. Spinning, shooting, and hitting again. Duncan into the lane. Pull-up jumper good.
Now, how about that play?
Ball knocked away. Camby trying to save it, but it winds up in San Antonio's hands. Jaren Jackson eyes a 3.
You get a three-pointer from Jaren Jackson. Let's take a look right here at Chris Childs, and let's see what happens after the play is over. He's just going to take and throw his shoulder into Malik Rose.
Jim thanks. Spurs ball. They trail by 3. David Robinson cuts it to 1.
That little isolation play they love.
David Robinson. And the rebound to Dudley. Sprewell pulls up and gives New York the lead.
Oh, that's a 1-on-4. You talk about confidence.
Ellie went for the steal. That left Houston open.
The only thing that could really hurt them is foul trouble right now.
Ellie against Dudley. Slings it back outside to Duncan. And Duncan lays it in. Robinson to Duncan.
Wonderful high-low. Wonderful pass there.
Into the hands of Avery Johnson. Here's Sean Elliott, who hasn't scored yet. Robinson's open. Spurs by 4. Dudley against Duncan. He'll shoot a little hook, but he won't get the bounce. Here comes Avery Johnson, 2-on-1. Daniels on his right. Antonio Daniels lays it in. 6 on the 24 as Ellie drives and scores. Working against Ellie, gets a screen from Johnson and pops home the jumper. A decade apart, 87 and 97. Elliott, nice catch inside, switches to the left hand and finishes it.
That's his first field goal. They've made a conscious effort to get him involved.
Allen Houston returns it to Ward for a 3, and he's got it.
Boy, he needed that one.
Ward coming over to help Dudley with Robinson. Cutting through is Avery Johnson, and Robinson finds him. Gives it up to Johnson. Now here's Camby against Robinson, leaning in and scoring.
That's what he brings, energy.
Duncan spinning on Johnson. And the contingent from the Virgin Islands can erupt on that. You know, his primary sport was swimming as a teenager. So the Spurs may have Steven Spielberg to thank for their good fortune. The jumper by Sprewell is short, but how about the follow?
3 quick fouls, and he's really been out of it offensively. Maybe he can come to life here.
Here's Avery Johnson. Ward. Got it. Robinson looking for Duncan. And finding him.
What makes these two guys so great together is they both can pass the ball.
It's Avery Johnson for San Antonio. Sean Elliott all alone. Got it. Sprewell into traffic, finds Johnson, and then the tip for Camby. Loose ball scooped up by Houston. Here comes Sprewell. Around Elliott. Lays it in.
Oh, something's wrong with Marcus Camby. He's been...
Here's Jaren Jackson, 2 seconds to shoot. Jackson does, and the Spurs have now made their last 6 shots from the field as they begin to pull away.
Now the outside guys are starting to get free.
Sprewell quiets the crowd just a bit. Robinson into the corner for Elliott. He hits the 3.
Inside, outside.
But they lose it. Here's Houston. A pull-up jumper is good. Camby trying to contend with Robinson. That leaves Jackson wide open, and he knows what to do. Houston for 3. It rattles in and out. Would have been a big one. Rebound tap to the side. Sprewell saves it to Johnson. Wow, what a play. Here's Kurt Thomas inside from Ward.
Great hustle that time by New York, and then Kurt Thomas used his body nicely.
Jackson looking inside from Malik Rose. He's covered, so Jackson takes a wild off-balance 3. And that's the kind of season and playoff run it's been. Tim Duncan gives it up to Jackson. Jaren Jackson. Duncan turning on Dudley and scoring. Childs on the move to the left hand, missed it. Thomas follows and connects. Ellie playing a 2-man game with Duncan, who takes it to the hoop. Doesn't get the roll, but the tip. He has it back. Jackson fires a 3 and puts the Knicks away.
Playing instead of Sean Elliott in the 4th quarter. It was Tim Duncan. In round 3, Robinson. Tonight, the big Twin Towers again, and the timely shooting of Jaren Jackson. They have the right pieces around those big guys, and they've seen every kind of defense, and they've adjusted.
That puts a capper on his night. A night which saw him score 33 points, take 16 boards, and block 2 shots. Game 1 to the Spurs.
27-point first quarter, 50 points thereafter. The thing you talk about, how do you score against the Spurs? Portland only 76 a game. Tonight, New York 77. Once again, the Spurs defense and the Twin Towers. Duncan has been such a force inside. They'll have to give him some help, though, because they're going to go right at Larry Johnson.
The tip to the Spurs. The officials, Joe Crawford, Jess Kersey. Johnson returns it to Duncan. His turnaround in the lane starts game 2. Ellie on Houston. Johnson alone for 3. That's what he didn't do in game 1. Here's Sean Elliott. Shot the ball only 6 times in game 1. Wastes no time getting one away here and gets a very kind roll on it. Sprewell. Dudley trying to keep it alive. It winds up in Ward's hands for the New York bucket.
In the first quarter of this game, and they did the entire first quarter of game 1.
Good pass inside to Houston. And they set it up again. Sprewell. That ability to stop and elevate. Here's Houston. A A little bit of daylight, and that's all he needs.
Charlie Ward went over and set a screen, and he actually got a mismatch now where Allen Houston could just shoot the ball over Avery.
Avery Johnson lost it, and off the save, it ignites a New York break that Sprewell closes in emphatic fashion. Duncan got it.
Took his time that time, Bob. I thought the last couple possessions.
Mario Ellie slides along the baseline for the jam. Camby is at the scorer's table. The lob to Duncan. Easy two. Johnson trying to front him. No chance. Houston pump fakes. Now lets it go and hits it.
And he got the shot up quickly. It's going to give him an opportunity for San Antonio to score. That's a bad play by Camby.
On a running right-handed hook by Avery Johnson. Now Sprewell beats the buzzer. Camby.
There's one who will.
Larry Johnson to Camby. A running one-hander is good.
2 out of 8 to start this game. 9 out of 24 in game 1, so 11 of his last 32.
Robinson out to Kerr. It's a 2. His foot was on the line. Sprewell's jumper is there.
They'll have a mismatch there. They'll have to double team him.
Sean Elliott hits the 3.
How many times have we seen it with San Antonio?
Sean Elliott drives past Johnson with the underhander that's good.
See, that's why Jeff Van Gundy.
Childs gets a screen and pops the jumper. Here's Sprewell with a long 2, and he drills it. Duncan out of the double to Johnson. And now Sean Elliott. Mario Ellie with a floater that's good.
He has that little runner. We've seen it so many times.
Duncan out of the double to Ellie. The Admiral baseline jumper. Houston gets into the lane and to the hoop.
Oh, what a great drive by Allen Houston. Took the ball inside.
Duncan hits the jump hook. Duncan again. Good again.
What a shot. The thing that amazes me about Tim Duncan is his ability to recognize what's there for him. He doesn't force it. Larry Johnson.
It's Allen Houston. Another tough shot, and he gets the roll. Here's Avery Johnson. A pull-up J, and he drains it. Sprewell. Houston. Ellie lobs to Duncan. He finds Robinson cutting through the lane. The basket counts. Plus the foul. Danny Crawford with the dramatic delayed call. Around the perimeter, Sean Elliott. Avery Johnson. Head fake, now slithers through and lays it in. Well, somebody's going to be wrong after this series is over as New York asks for a 20. They trail by 10. Sprewell cuts it to 8.
Do you know how good that was?
That was pretty good. Pretty good.
Robinson.
Camby has him on a switch. That leaves Robinson inside with the mismatch. Duncan follows.
Their first offensive rebound is going to be a three-point play. This is what Ahmad talked to Greg Popovich about. David Robinson's got 3 fouls. They would love to get his 4th. He flops back trying to get a foul. It doesn't go, and Allen Houston allows Duncan to get inside on the offensive boards.
15 now for Duncan. Ward for 3, and the Knicks needed that. Houston guns a 3, and it's a big one. His foot actually was on the line. I take it back. Duncan off the glass. As we move inside 4 minutes. Houston with a nice pass to Camby, and an even nicer finish.
Out here the rest of the game if they're going to win.
Houston with the catch and shoot, and New York. Sean Elliott. A terrific baseline move, and man, does that hurt if you're looking at this from New York's perspective, as it could be a 3-point play.
See, I'm sure if you're Jeff Van Gundy, you say, let's make Sean Elliott make a jump shot. Kerr throws it in the corner, and the poor closeout by Sprewell gives up the baseline, then the touch foul, the great finish by Sean Elliott. That could be a huge play for the Spurs going into the fourth.
This is even worse for New York. Duncan with the rebound. It's a 4-point trip down the floor. Less than a second.
They are not giving him one clean look at the basket.
Houston with a tough fadeaway.
Allen Houston.
Kurt Thomas. They need more of that. Avery Johnson finds Mario Elie. His set shot from the head of the key is good.
That dribble penetration.
Larry Johnson backing in against Rose. Turning and hitting, plus the foul. Larry Johnson just glad to see someone leaning over his shoulder who isn't 7'1". Duncan out to Jackson, though.
Guess who with the offensive board, and guess what it leads to? Guess who passes the ball?
Avery Johnson to Robinson. He drains it.
Fresh legs. You get a chance to rest David Robinson. He's come back strong.
23 of 76. Sprewell improves that a bit. Mario Elie, good free throw shooter if they're thinking about fouling him. Avery Johnson to Duncan, and that may spell good night.
Into a Game 2 victory. Avery Johnson said, I'm just going to throw it. If I keep it in the building, Tim Duncan will find it, and he does. And I think that does it. I think that closes the Knicks out. But Tim Duncan, the relentless runner, we've seen it all through the playoffs. He plays minute 1 through 48. And David Robinson, the leader, the guy who's been there for him, loves it.
Spurs by 12. Sprewell leans in and banks it in. Sprewell to the left hand. Tough hoop.
Leaves the game, and you see his numbers.
25 and 15 with 4 blocks thrown in. This Spurs team is a team of vagabonds. Here's Antonio Daniels out to Jaren Jackson, who's one of them. Jaren Jackson finally hits a 3, which is some satisfaction for him. But Jackson's a guy who's been with 8 teams. Mario Elie played with a bunch of CBA teams, played in 4 different countries. Avery Johnson was cut twice by the Spurs. So if these guys are closing in on a championship, it's been after a long, hard road for most of them. They take a 2-game lead to New York, winning Game 2, 80-67. Regular season against a team that has won 44 of its last 50. Larry Johnson, tough shot, gets the bounce. Houston against Jaren Jackson, who has replaced Ellie. Slides inside of it.
You can already see the aggression of New York getting to the basket, something we did not see in San Antonio.
Duncan gets San Antonio on the board. Allen Houston's jumper. Here's Allen Houston. Off the glass, count the basket, plus the foul. Elliott on the perimeter, back to the Admiral with the hook that's good.
So quick and have speed. They did not have that in Indiana.
Sprewell's jumper is good. Sprewell faking, putting it on the floor, in the lane, got it.
That's such a tough shot.
Johnson from Houston. Johnson with 4 points. The Knicks up 8. Timeout San Antonio. Duncan screening for him. Cutting in front for the steal is Ward. He's gone. He went to the reverse though. The follow isn't there. Sprewell a 3rd try. He puts it in.
The San Antonio Daniels shoot the ball.
Robinson's hook puts an end to an 8-0 New York run. Sean Elliott. The basket will count. It's a 3-pointer. Foul on top of it.
I think they wiped it off.
First, they said it would count.
Yes.
Now the officials are conferring. Avery Johnson arguing on the floor. Popovich arguing from the bench. And Popovich may have just been hit with a technical. Allen Houston catch and shoot. And hit.
Pretty bad.
Sprewell. Wide open Childs. That's his first three of the finals. He was their second-best three-point shooter for the year. 3 seconds. Daniels answers.
What a big shot. And Bob, we talked about it. What does New York have to do tonight? They have to score some points.
Elliott has been quiet offensively in this series. Here's Duncan against two defenders, banks it in, plus the foul.
Now,
here's Houston for Duncan.
You got to foul him.
Daniels. Kerr, the jumper. They're still waiting for him to get on track. He hits his first shot tonight. Duncan backing in on Dudley. And banking it home.
Just such great patience.
Got it back. Daniels off the dribble. Antonio Daniels on fire here.
You know,
here's Johnson. Scoring. 8-point Johnson. 2 seconds to get a shot off. Johnson on the run. Beats the buzzer and cans it. Robinson driving on Dudley. Little contact. They let it go, and the Admiral connects off the glass. Out to Johnson with 7 on the shot clock. Johnson in the paint. Double pump fadeaway.
Look what I found. It looked like he was going to pass that ball to Dudley. Realized who it was. Said, doesn't do me any good to pass it. You can't shoot it. I might as well get it up there.
Ward took it away. His pass is deflected. And Daniels has it back. Lobbing for Duncan. And Duncan slams it home. And there's a needless foul by Chris Childs.
You got to let that one go, Bob.
Here's Sean Elliott left alone. Looks like he trouble. Takes it to the basket and lays it in. He hesitated on the... In the first quarter, 6 assists, no turnovers. Here's Sprewell, stopping and popping. Sean Elliott finds Robinson. Van Gundy said, if we play just to avoid being swept, we will be swept. If we win tonight, we feel we're back in the series. And there's a lot of contact here and a near fight. Camby and Robinson. Probably a double foul about to be called. The only good news for New York as Camby kicks the chair. Houston posting on Elliott. The fadeaway is good.
We're right back to that post play. Allen's got it working.
2 in a row.
Bob, this is
Robinson with the lock for Elliott, but it's broken up. On the turnover, the Knicks come back. Houston, a pull-up, and he hits the three. Avery Johnson with the bounce to Duncan. Kelly will try it again, and finally he hits one. It's Duncan, triple team, ball not free. He's got it back, and he scores. Now it's the Admiral. Shot clock winding down as he drives. And Duncan spins with the hook and banks it in.
See, Larry Johnson has no chance down there when that...
The shot clock's going to run out unless they get one off here, and Houston does, and cans a big one. The shot... Duncan given room.
That's
and the
illegal.
bank is open for him.
That's illegal. For a guy to step out like that and shoot that ball off the glass.
And the Knicks will take the same 3-point lead into the fourth quarter that they had at halftime. Sprewell slices through, goes to the left hand, and hits a ridiculous shot.
Now, Duncan.
Houston. That's what he did all the time against Indiana and has been unable to do for the most part against the Spurs until now.
Well, Jeff Van Gundy said to him when he was in foul trouble, keep your head in the game. A tremendous stop. More importantly, feel the crowd.
Here's Duncan against the double. He goes to the floor. The shot doesn't fall. Dudley claims the rebound. Here comes Sprewell. Full speed ahead.
You better not backpedal when he's coming at you. You better turn and sprint.
So they're in foul trouble with 9 minutes to go. Kerr for 3. And he puts it down. Houston to Johnson. And he
A quick check of the starting lineups. No changes, of course, for San Antonio. When you lose one game, but you won 44 of 51, you're not going to fiddle with anything. Camby is back in the starting lineup for the second time in a row for New York, but he's got to stay on the floor. Because of foul trouble, he managed only 16 minutes on Monday night. Let's check with Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Bob. The loss in Game 3 has not affected the confident swagger of the San Antonio Spurs. David Robinson told me that a lot of people were disappointed because they were thinking sweep. No one on his team ever thought that. He said this is the NBA Finals. They knew the New York Knicks would not lay down. What it did do is cause them to refocus, find out what they did wrong, and come back even better, more ready. Let's go down to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Ahmad. Well, I spoke with Jeff Van Gundy, and he told me he's very upset with Mario Elie and Sean Elliott for their comments after Game 3. He says every time we win a game, the other team says that it's because we got a good whistle, that the officials helped us. Well, I'm sick of it. If anybody's getting the benefit of the doubt in this series, it's the Spurs. They've shot 27 more free throws. Why don't these guys just stand up and say, we played better, we won the game? Seems as though Jeff Van Gundy, after 4 games and saying he couldn't find any Spurs to dislike, has found some, Bob.
Times to San Antonio's 20 giveaways in Game 3, give it up right away in Game 4, and Avery Johnson, who had the steal, then converts the basket at the other end. Sprewell ties it. A double on Elliott, and Ward comes over and knocks it out of bounds. Through his career, he's been a much bigger scorer than that. Ellie drives baseline.
See, early, who's taking the shots? Ellie.
Sprewell out high, Johnson for 3. Ward flying in to try to save it, and does. Good play by Charlie Ward. Now here's Houston. It's blocked away and cleanly. The ball made contact with the rim, and they got a fresh 24. Sprewell's shot is a high arcer, and he gets the bounce. Elliott from the side, hits the 3. They've been waiting a long time for that. That's more like the Spurs. Nice pass from Johnson to Camby. He gets it back. Can't put it home, but he was fouled.
You're right about the ball movement. That's when they're at their best, swinging that ball around the perimeter, out of the double teams. You're going to get those calls, and that's what happened in the game the other night. New York were the aggressors on the offensive boards, forcing turnovers in every category.
Duncan from Ellie. Into the lane, on the run, missed it. Robinson keeping it alive, gets it back, can't put it down. But finally, the third try is there on the tip. Tim Duncan's first basket. Houston. Got it.
He's playing with such great confidence. He missed his first couple shots. Doesn't even hesitate on that jump shot.
Duncan turns and banks it in. Elliott again. Can't hit a second successive 3. Robinson puts it home on the putback. And this is more offensive rebounding than we've seen of late from San Antonio. Sprewell looking for Houston. Trying to lob it over Elliott. Houston touched it last. There was an off majority of the calls. Avery Johnson. San Antonio by 7. Houston drives baseline into a crowd and hits against 3 defenders.
The one thing that Allen Houston wants to do is keep driving that ball to the basket. And from New York, they won a different story when they dominated the first quarter of Game 3.
Avery Johnson got into the lane and paid for it. Avery Johnson, a poor Game 3 with 6 turnovers. Off to a good start here. Makes both free throws. San Antonio with a 7-point lead. Charlie Ward finds the range with a 3.
But the one thing they've done, Bob, is they've done a great job pressuring the guard.
David Robinson with a 15-footer that goes down.
Everybody involved right now for San Antonio. They're in a very, very good offensive rhythm.
And the outlet to Avery Johnson. It's taken away from him by Ward. Now a foot race with Robinson. Ward goes for the trap of Camby, who slams it home. A smart move by Charlie Ward.
He's got those quarterback eyes. He played quarterback, and he was reading the field that time. He looked.
Kerr is in for Avery Johnson, who's out to have his elbow bandaged, and Duncan does it again. The game was being decided on Monday. Ward spinning. Charlie Ward feeling it all of a sudden.
7 now points from Charlie Ward as he's really picked up pace here now.
And here's Kerr dumping it into Duncan for the turnaround off the glass. 8 points for Tim.
Institution by Jeff Van Gundy does not want him to pick up a little touch foul as he gets a little tired.
Larry Johnson. His first basket. Monday night, Avery Johnson and the Spurs saw their record 12-game playoff winning streak snapped by the Knicks. Losing is something the Spurs are not exactly used to. They're winners of 44 of their last 51.
The day after a loss, things aren't the same, you know. The food tastes different. You wake up, you just got this funny feeling that you don't, and you know you don't like to feel this way. And you know how you like to feel after a win, and that's where you want to be. So we do take it personally, not so much where we're going to get out of our games or somebody's going to try to put the team on their shoulders and lead them to victory. But it's a certain way that we respond, and I'm hoping we're going to respond like that in Game 4.
You're a captive audience. The jumper by Duncan spills off. The rebound to Larry Johnson. Houston pulls up and fires. Allen Houston stays high.
I love that early offense for New York.
Goes in for the Spurs. Mario Ellie to the hoop. The jumper, or that set shot, really, that he takes has not been there for him throughout the playoffs. He's trying to get his offense by going to the rack.
That was too easy there. Allen Houston just escorted him to the basket. Now all 5 starters have scored for San Antonio and for New York. Both teams in a great offensive rhythm.
Ward. What's up with Charlie Ward? Ellie out, Jaren Jackson in. This is Jackson. 17 points in game 1. 3 points total since. His pass intercepted by Charlie Ward. Ward with 10 points now. His 3 and then his stealing drive have given the Knicks the lead. Let's see if we can find out what happened.
A tough pass by Jackson, and you see he gets his leg straight, and he comes down on the floor. The right leg is straight, the left leg is bent. Bad pass across court by Jaren Jackson, and Charlie Ward again with those football instincts. This time instead of a quarterback, he's a free safety. Picks it off and goes in for the layup. So Charlie Ward is jump-starting his team. Kyle's being hurt.
Here's Steve Kerr. Pulls up in the lane and hits the 10-footer. By 1. Sprewell's pass for Camby, touch over to Thomas. The basket does not count. A jump ball is called. Malik Rose got over there with a good defensive play. Charlie Ward, who already has his high point production of the series in this first quarter alone, gives it up to Houston. And an illegal defense, that's the second one called on San Antonio. Steve Snapper Jones, the multifaceted cyber snapper, is currently analyzing the game in progress, in addition to answering fan questions. It's all at NBA.com. 5 seconds. Houston to Thomas, who juggles it, gets the shot off, and hits it. 2. Sprewell with Jaren Jackson defending. Snaps a pass cross-court that eludes Kurt Thomas. And on the turnover, it belongs to the Spurs. There to pick it up is Jaren Jackson. 5 seconds to shoot. Malik Rose with a long one. Outside his range, really. And the rebound to Sprewell. Knicks quickly back. Camby catch and shoot.
So vital for him to stay out of foul trouble. They were very fortunate.
Avery Johnson throws up that left-handed runner.
New York's got to be a little concerned. Those guards are getting in that lane.
Jerome Kersey is in the game for the first time. He He hasn't seen much playing time at all of late. Same move for Avery Johnson, same result. He's got 10 points.
How about the leading scorers in the game? Charlie Ward with 10 and Avery Johnson with 10. Bob.
Childs over on the double. Avery Johnson swings it to Jerome Kersey. And Jerome Kersey, not heard from in quite some time, hits his first shot. He went to the finals with the Trailblazers in both 90 and 92. Ellie up on Sprewell, who puts it behind the back, throws up the floater. Could have been a three-point play. As it is, he'll come to the line and shoot two.
Allen Houston back into the game. We know it's a game of matchups, so Sean Elliott will be matched up once again with Allen Houston.
Sprewell hit them both, tied the game at 33. Duncan with the screen. Around the perimeter, here's Elliott. Sean Elliott finding the range which had eluded him earlier in this series. Houston comes back and immediately makes his presence felt.
Little mid-range jump shot. He said they were so effective. That's what he's doing.
Robinson almost lost it. Duncan covers up. Elliott's alone for three and gets an incredible bounce to Cannon.
Remember, they said they liked the rims here. Tim Duncan, when he came in, he said, I love these rims.
He was just hit with his second foul. New York ball from the side as play resumes. Here's Dudley. Prior to that, Dudley had missed 13 of his last 14 field goal attempts.
Series that haven't done much of here.
Avery Johnson. Dudley with the rebound. Childs to Sprewell. Pulls up and connects. Knicks getting it from a number of sources tonight.
This has been the best game of the series. Well played by both teams.
Robinson, jumper over Dudley, bounces home. 8 for the Admiral. San Antonio by 1. 5 minutes to play in the half. Duncan fades, fires, and puts it down off the glass. Now 2 of 15 from three-point range. Elliott again. Ball fought for, and Hugh Evans says no, a San Antonio foul.
Jaren Jackson pulled Allen Houston down by the shoulder. Tim Duncan almost made a spectacular tip-in on that play.
Missed free throw of this series. He's now 19 of 20, and he hits the second.
Embarrassing that he's going to have stitches, so welcome to fatherhood, Allen.
And welcome to trying to defend Tim Duncan, and that goes for everybody in a white shirt.
Well, Popovich called that timeout, and he said, look, we've spread them out. Now throw the ball in the post. He was.
Avery Johnson with the lob to the Admiral. It's broken up. Here's Sprewell. Slams on the brakes, fires the jumper, and draws the foul.
Make him take a lot of shots, but don't put him on that foul line. That's how he throws up a big night against you. Jaren Jackson fouled him on that jump shot. You don't want him to do that if you're a coach.
Tim Duncan driving on Dudley, spinning. He'll come to the free throw line. And Duncan converts both free throws. Here's Ward into the lane, finding Camby.
Charlie Ward has been great, Bob. I mean, Jeff Van Gundy's going to have to really watch tonight.
Avery Johnson. Jaren Jackson lets it go. And gives San Antonio a 4-point lead.
Now, see, that shot is fine because that's uncontested, and that's off the little dribble by Avery to get in that lane, but once it's a problem.
Ward to Johnson. Larry Johnson against two defenders. Doesn't get the roll, but the tip is there.
You see why Camby's got to stay out of foul trouble? He's the only guy on the New York front line who can make that kind of play.
Duncan from 20. You almost invite him to take that shot because you don't want to deal with him in the post. Sprewell spins around Jackson, but coming over to block it is Duncan. 6 on the shot clock. Sprewell to Thomas for the jumper. 4 seconds now. San Antonio has to hurry. Jaren Jackson from midcourt. Stay tuned for the Prudential Halftime Report. Hannah Storm will, of course, be joined by Isaiah Thomas, Peter Bessie, and Bill Walton on the Showtime set. You're watching the NBA Finals on NBC. Tim Duncan. Johnson poked at it, but got a piece of Duncan for his third foul. Representative during a media session on one of the off days. That's not unprecedented for him.
You know, it's interesting. His persona publicly is that way, Bob. But you know,
gets Elliott off his feet. Now feeds to the corner for Johnson. Shovels it to Camby. Now gets it back against two defenders. Robinson blocked it. Duncan saved it. San Antonio with numbers. Mario Ellie finishes it.
Jeff Van Gundy and the Knicks have to be very, very careful right now. What the shot blocking does, it forces Camby to pass it, and then the two Twin Towers, once again, actually both of them got a block shot. It leads to the fast break opportunity. Mario Ellie runs out on the floor, and he gets a layup and the foul. They lead by 8, chance to go up 9, Twin Towers.
Ellie, an excellent free throw shooter, better than 85%, completes the three-point play. Juggles it, ball loose, and taken by Elliott. Avery Johnson, Mario Ellie snaps it back inside to Duncan, and it's a double-digit lead, an 11-point advantage for San Antonio.
They got to attack, and there's Allen Houston.
But Robinson is there to block it. Duncan goes to the bank, and it's open for him.
The Spurs are a step quicker defensively tonight. That double defender, Robinson, reacting to the pass, helping his teammate. Allen Houston is thwarted at the basket. And it leads to this at the other end. Tim Duncan, we've seen him inside, and he loves that little 45-degree angle bank shot. He kisses it off the glass. The Spurs lead by 13.
You heard what Robinson said. We take a defeat personally.
Only 2, and he has 3 turnovers. It's been a nightmare for Larry Johnson inside against Duncan and Robinson.
Here's Houston. A whistle as the shot swishes, and a chance for a three-point play.
Well, they needed that. Allen had missed his last 4 shots. He can't get there soon enough. He hits him on the arm. A great extension by Allen Houston, the great follow-through and the concentration, and a much-needed three-point play.
Houston gives it up to Ward. Inside to Camby. Broken up by Duncan.
The basket.
Avery Johnson puts them back up by a dozen. Meaning for him. Cross-court Sprewell behind Camby's screen. He puts the jumper down. Camby soars over Duncan for the dunk.
That's the way you take the ball to the basket. No flips, nothing easy. Duncan wanted to take the charge.
It's not that I didn't want Camby. I just couldn't bear to part with Oak.
I think there's a lot to that. You grow fond and in love with players who've given so much to you, but right now, Camby is the superior player, no question.
Houston got a hand on it, but it comes to Avery Johnson. Ellie, the set shot 3, and it's huge for San Antonio.
That is those kiss of death shots that Ellie is so famous for.
11 again. Houston dumps it inside. Nice feed to Thomas, but Robinson comes over to block it. Here's Mario Ellie. Knocked away by Sprewell. You won't catch him. Gets up ahead of steam. Into the lane to Camby. Tries to go to the dunk. Maybe unnecessarily. Johnson, Ellie, left hand, plus the foul. Now Mario Ellie, who had a very poor game, scored 12 points. He has 4 assists, and he's 5 of 6 from the floor.
Well, he's outrunning the floor on the fast break, but all of that is created. Scored the other way, Bob, and this could be one of those 5-point swings we always talk about. So instead of maybe getting it down to 7, it's now 12.
In the first row of the seats, Sprewell catch and shoot. He has 16. Duncan, double-teamed, contact and a New York foul. Kurt Thomas, his 4th.
Well, there was so much made of the fouls after Game 3.
21 now for Duncan as he makes 1 of 2. Sprewell trying to spin on Jackson. He's cut off. They work it inside, and Larry Johnson is able to finish it. Coming over to steal it is Ward, and then he's fouled by Jackson. Sprewell and a foul. Game 3 of the finals broke that trend a bit. And this is a relatively high-scoring game. 68-61 now. The Spurs lead trimmed to 7. Houston out to Sprewell. Off the dribble, leans in, and can't connect. Duncan, Ward helping, leaving Johnson alone.
See, he always goes to the sweet spot when he throws when you're trying to get back in this game.
We got a McGuire-Maris score, 70-61.
I knew your baseball reference would come out sooner or later, Bob.
Sprewell. Rose trying to guard him. Jumper over him.
Bob, you can't scare him off the shot by looking at him.
Jaren Jackson fakes his way around Houston. Malik Rose is there with a big follow. 4.5 seconds for the Knicks to get off the quarter's last shot. Charlie Ward from half court. Malik Rose makes it a 9-point difference after 3.
Fourth quarter, the crowd, execution, effort, defense, the whole thing to be able to pull this win out now.
Do they make it a best 2 out of 3 by pulling even, or are they pushed to the brink? Thomas gets them 2 points closer. I'm 7 on the 24. Elliott's got a good look at it, and he drills it.
He has got to continue to be aggressive. When he shoots the ball well, he changes their entire team.
Houston along the left sideline, now to Sprewell, explodes into the lane, but Duncan is there to get a piece of it. Duncan to Elliott. Pull up. Won't go. Robinson on the offensive glass, but the foul is on him. It's Houston. And there's a whistle. He'll come to the foul line with a chance to cut it to 5. Mario Ellie is the guilty party. It's his 4th. Wild ride for the Knicks into the finals. It could have ended in Game 5 of the first round as the playoffs proceed. Here's the jumper by Elliott that won't drop. Robinson for the tip. Another try.
They've been beaten on the boards tonight, 34-24 in critical offensive rebounds. So Charles Sprewell lays that ball in the basket. But Bob, just to follow up on your point about New York, it just always points out to you how fragile success is.
Spree. Johnson gets into the lane, switches to the right hand. Duncan is there to follow, and he was fouled. Duncan gets them both, makes it a 7-point game. Sprewell finds Camby, changes his shot, but draws the contact that will send him to the foul line. Effects of Child's injury, maybe a combination of the two?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the two, and I would not be surprised if they need a little offense here to go to that backcourt that we talked about. Sprewell, Houston in the backcourt, maybe.
Flips it to Duncan. He gets Camby off his feet, misses, but a foul. Meanwhile, here's another turnaround stat. Offensive rebounds, which have been almost non-existent for the Spurs prior to tonight in this series, they've got a dozen, and Robinson has 9 of them. Charlie Ward with Johnson on him. And an illegal defense is called. Another technical will be shot by the Knicks. Malik Rose and Jaren Jackson, the only reserves to get any kind of minutes here since intermission. Houston driving on Elliott. Out to Johnson. Into the lane. Lost it, got it back, fade away, got a piece of it. Duncan picks it up. Ellie's ahead of the field. And a big turnaround there.
See, remember that, get that thing under 6 or 7. They just can't do it.
Instead of 4, it's 8. Ward for 3. And the tip for Sprewell. Wow, he soared on that. Robinson, the hook. Duncan, the tip. Doesn't get the roll. Johnson claims it. Again, a chance to close within 4. Sprewell is collared, and maybe they can do it at the foul line. They can get back to 4 as Sprewell hits this. It's a game again. Mario Ellie. The lob to Duncan and coming over to attempt to steal is Sprewell, but it's a moot point because a 3-second violation was called on the Spurs. Houston, 2-point game. Here comes Sean Elliott steaming into the front court. His pass is broken up, and the Knicks take it away.
The speed of Latrell Sprewell, he was beaten on the play, ran in from behind. Magnificent play by Sprewell.
New York looks to tie. And the whistle from Hugh Evans.
Right now, we cannot allow the Knicks to get the lead.
San Antonio by 1. The Spurs have been the league's best road team in the regular season and playoffs. Robinson's jumper falls through. Spurs trying to do it into the teeth of a hostile, rabid New York crowd. Houston takes him baseline. The jumper won't go. Rebound Robinson. Duncan to the hook.
What poise coming out of that timeout. They get a defensive stop. They get 2 scores. 1 goes to 5.
Here's Charlie Ward on the run. His pass intercepted by Mario Ellie. He goes 1-on-3. Johnson with contact, and Ellie will come to the foul line. Mario has had a good game.
When you get yourself down like this, you almost have to have a perfect finish.
4 assists and 2 steals. Here's Sprewell through a crowd to Camby. He was fouled, and it stayed down.
I keep talking about Marcus Camby.
Marcus Camby's apartment in North Hartford, Connecticut. And Robinson had written to Marcus, I've seen you play. You have most of what it takes. Do you have the drive? The Knicks picking up some drive here as the ball is thrown away. An inexplicable turnover. Sean Elliott, huge shot. Can't hit it. Duncan, loose ball foul. 3 on him. Two-point difference, 3:40 remaining. It stays at 2.
See, that's why Popovich waited to take the timeout between free throws. He sort of...
Allen Houston. Robinson will take it. Sean Elliott on the move, poked away, and a foul.
More of a factor. Got off to a great start.
88-84. Charlie Ward for 3. Ellie saves it into Robinson. Robinson. The basket will not count.
I think the Knicks can fight back from that. That would be a monumental hill to climb.
Shot clock winding down. Sprewell will take it with a hand in his face, and Robinson pulls it down. Mario Ellie gets it back. Huge offensive rebound.
See, new 24 now, so they're going to get probably over 40 seconds on this possession. If they score here to push it to 8, running out of time. Larry Johnson. Big non-call. That would have cut it to 4.
But Johnson can't increase it to 8. It stays at 6 as he misses them both. Sprewell tries to cut it in half, but can't. Duncan grabs the rebound.
I don't like that shot for Sprewell. I think he can get the ball to the basket. You know, tough basketball game. We'll point back to that start of that third quarter when San Antonio pushed the lead from 4 at halftime to 13.
Lets it go. The rebound to Duncan, fouled over the back. That's how we make it up to you. Sprewell weaves his way through. Thomas pops the jumper short. Camby follows and hits. Sprewell, Camby stuffs it, and they close to within 6. Stranger things have happened. And a foul in the backcourt.
Hey guys, anything can happen. We've got to push it back to San Antonio to a game 6, but he's going to have to give his best speeches to make that happen.
Camby back to Spree, to the hoop. Thomas takes the rebound with 6 seconds to go. He's fouled. Pride to let you know that you were in a fight.
Hey, Bob, how about last year, as early as last year? I mean, Utah coming into the United Center in Chicago, we're down 3-1. Look, then the Chicago Bulls were able to win Game 6, but I didn't think they would win that game. So anything can happen.
But at least Utah was going home.
Absolutely. That's a big difference.
The Spurs win it 96-89. If he hit 2 free throws, he made 1. It was 81-80. And that's as close as they got. They could never get all the way over the hump.
Well, how reminiscent is that of Game 3 when San Antonio tied and Allen Houston's 3, and they never led in the game. So San Antonio fought them off. 8 of 23 field goals in the fourth quarter.
All right, thanks, Bob. David, we talked a couple of weeks ago, and you told me about winning. You need everybody on this team. Tonight, a pretty good team effort.
It really was. We made a lot of mistakes. I mean, it was not characteristic of us, but we hung in there, and everybody contributed. Guys came down. They were aggressive. JJ was more aggressive tonight looking for his shots. Sean did a great job really coming in for us tonight.
Something you guys haven't been especially strong at, offensive rebounds. You were very strong this evening.
Yeah, we really made a point of it because last game I thought it really hurt us. That's when they got the key shots down the stretch. Allen Houston hit the 3, and Camby got 1. So we came in with a focus on that tonight.
And you also told me that after losing the last game, this one here sort of refocused everything.
I tell you, after a loss this year, every loss, we've gotten ourselves together. Guys searching themselves. You're looking at each other in the locker room and hate each other. It makes you come back and be ready for the next game. I thought we had a great focus in the first quarter tonight.
All right, David, congratulations. We'll see you on Friday.
Thanks so much.
All right.
The lineups for Game 5, unchanged from the past couple of Garden. Bob? Well, the refrain is a familiar one by now. Not in our house. Let's see if the Knicks can make it stick. Some daylight. Brings it back outside to Ellie. 5 on the 24. Johnson, baseline jumper. Way short. Air ball. Bounce. Houston. Nice move. Started to drive.
Blocker coming over. Made a nice effort there to get that little jumper.
From 20 feet, Tim Duncan is perfect.
Now that doesn't spot.
Sprewell around Elliott. Houston. Ellie to David Robinson, follows his own shot, hits it, plus the foul. Meanwhile, Charlie moves. Duncan from the left side this time, and he goes to the bank one. Now it's in Houston's hands. Thomas sets the screen for him, gets it back, and connects.
Remember in Game 1, now he had 13.
Jaren Jackson is in, Mario Ellie out, David Robinson to the bench, Malik Rose in, and a nicely executed play with Tim Duncan picking up the... Allen Houston with the jumper, good again. Jaren Jackson has the rebound. Here is Jackson, hitting a 3.
Does not want to see this guy get hot.
And he's been anything but hot since Game 1. Ward, little floater.
0 for 5 in the second. They need Childs.
Childs played only 7 minutes on the bum knee in Game 4. Duncan, close to unstoppable. Thomas against Malik Rose. Hits over him.
So that's what they're going to do, Bob. Anytime that they...
Short. Allen Houston around Kerr to the basket.
That New York wants right here. They want that clock burning down against them. Right now it's 10 and they still haven't gotten into anything.
But Duncan can take care of a lot of lapses.
New York has got to stay away from those scoring droughts that gets themselves in trouble.
Houston.
When in doubt.
Duncan slings it cross court to Elliott. Touch pass inside to Robinson against Dudley. Shot hook. Good. Duncan with Thomas on him. Little fadeaway jumper is good.
Now that was a powerful move that time by Duncan.
Chris Childs catch and shoot.
All created out of the double team on Allen.
Childs has it back. Now Houston 6 on the 24. It'll be Camby, and it'll be New York by 6. Johnson. Duncan. How do you stop him?
Well, you don't. You got to hope that maybe
Robinson returns it to Johnson. Now here's Elliott. Swatted away by Camby, taken by Johnson, who beats the shot clock and hits.
Well, that's tough luck. He cannot pick up his third foul.
Coming in front for the steal is Sprewell. He's gone.
Playing the passing lanes, running off Chanel. At that time, he steps in front of him. But Bob, on this last play, as you see with this great finish, on the last play, Sean Elliott
hit some big shots in Game 3 that didn't play in Game 4. It's Robinson leaning in and spinning it home. This is for him. Here's Jaren Jackson. Fires the three and hits it, and San Antonio, with 6 seconds remaining, takes a 2-point lead. Latrell Sprewell, Camby screening for him. Sprewell blows by Robinson, who catches up and blocks it from behind. It's Ellie's second.
Sprewell goes to the basket. You see Duncan and Robinson both get a piece. That's really that's the Spurs' first.
Duncan on him. Fakes the jumper, goes to the drive, misses with the left hand, and Robinson is there to clear it. Avery Johnson bounces to the driving Jaren Jackson. Jaren Jackson hoists up a three, and suddenly he's hot again.
There's the same start that we
to Sprewell. Johnson has it back, spinning on Duncan. Houston. It's a two. Avery Johnson, 3 seconds to shoot. Avery has it stripped away by Charlie Ward. Here come the Knicks. Sprewell to the rim. Plus the foul.
Turnovers now for Avery Johnson in the ball game, and Latrell Sprewell just ignites this crowd. He takes off.
Pack the Spurs and finally giving it up to Ward, but not for long. New York has the lead. Sprewell with 15. 10-0 New York run. Mario Ellie sets on three, and a big one for San Antonio.
Wow, that.
Sprewell, who seems to be everywhere, grabs the rebound, brings it up, pops the shot, ties the game. 50-50, and San Antonio loses it. Here comes Charlie Ward, all the way. Knicks have the lead. Rebound taken on a hop by Houston. He leads Sprewell. Back to Houston, around Elliott. Here's his jumper going. Duncan double team, scores anyway, plus the foul. Inside 2 minutes to play in the third. Latrell Sprewell. They had him surrounded. He scored anyway.
Gets themselves in trouble. Starts standing around.
5 seconds to shoot. Duncan will. And he banks it home from long range. 23 for Duncan. San Antonio by 1. Sprewell gets his man off his feet and scores again. Sprewell is 5 for 5 in this quarter. Basket are off, and the corner clocks, which have been rolled onto the floor, are on. Duncan spins and hits off the glass. He's almost too. Sprewell gets the Knicks to lead, and they'll come to the line. Or does he?
Wow. Wow. Set up right now that'll play into San Antonio's hands. Get something quickly.
Sprewell. When you feel it, why not? He's not really a three-point. Duncan again. And the same result. Houston to Sprewell. Turns, pops, hits. Knicks by 3. Sean Elliott. Avery Johnson on the move. The floater is good.
Time by Camby allowed Elliott to step in there, see if they can count up a basket here with this.
Swatted away by Camby, who a year ago with the Raptors. Sprewell out of the double, finds Camby. Around the perimeter to Houston. Johnson again, thought about a three. Instead drives the lane, lays it off for Camby for the slam. Robinson goes to the right hand and goes to the line on top. Sprewell guarded by Elliott. Fires over him and hits again. That was Duncan out of the double to Ellie. Tries to tie and does. Sprewell explodes to the hoop. The ball is pinned between the rim and Sean Elliott. Avery Johnson. Big hoop for Avery Johnson. Sprewell off the dribble against Elliott. Lets it go. The scoring spree does not continue. It's David Robinson. Robinson spinning to the basket. Muscles up. No whistle. But he got it back. Now they have to come foul. They unleash the shot, and Johnson chases it down. Ward to a Kenny Sprewell. He's underneath. Trying to free himself. Can't. The San Antonio Spurs have won their first NBA championship. 26 years coming, and the Knicks made them sweat.